So today I have a second place tournament report for you. I pretty much played the same thing that I played last weekend, Darkrai Hydreigon, and I was going to switch it up to Blastoise Keldeo, but I just really felt like Hydreigon was the thing that I was most comfortable with. And I've always said that when in doubt, just go with whatever you feel is right. I personally don't feel like I play my best when I'm trying out just a random new deck, and it really takes me a little while just to get used to you're keeping track of, in a new deck, how many of a certain number of cards I have, keeping track of my resources. And the great thing about Sableye is just that I can get my resources back. So as a player, that's really a huge help to me. So my list is, I believe, exactly the same as my last 4th place tournament report, but I'm going to go through it anyways, just so you guys don't have to, go back to watch that. So I run a 4-1-3 line of Hydreigon. I split my Deanos, 2 Dark and 2 Dragon, because the Dark can be donked by Landorus, the Dragon can be donked by Rayquaza. You never know what you're going to see in a tournament, and so that's why I did the split. Just 1 Zweilous and 3 Hydreigon. I dropped my Sableye count down to 2. Originally, or for a while there, I was running 3, but I found that 2 is really all that was needed. 3 Darkrai, big attacker, 1 Mewtwo, and 1 Cresselia. Cresselia is just great for, making sure you win that Mewtwo war. However, I will say that I only used it once in my entire tournament. I'm definitely not saying that it's not worth being in here. It's just a card that, for some reason, I really didn't have many opportunities to use. But knowing that I had it available in case I had the Mewtwo war issue made me more prone to actually starting to start a Mewtwo war, knowing that I had Cresselia as an option. Supporters, 4 N, 3 Skyla, 4 Juniper, 2 Random Receiver, 3 Max Potion, 4 Ultra Ball, 4 Dart Patch, 3 Rare Candy, 1 Computer Search, 1 Super Rod, 1 Level Ball, 4 Catcher, and 3 Blend Energy, and then 8 Dark. So I know a lot of people run 12 energy in Hydreigon. I really felt like I didn't necessarily need that 4th blend energy, and swapping it out for, I believe, a 4th Dart Patch was much more useful. So now I'll have a good rundown on all my matches. So we actually didn't have enough players show up for a top 8, so we only had a top 4, which is always more stressful because we typically still had, I think we had around 30 players in our division, and so, only 4 people get to go in. That just makes everything so much more competitive. You can pretty much only lose, you can only lose 1, and even then you may not make top. So it just really puts the pressure on everyone to really watch their misplays. So my first deck was against an Empoleon Landorus Mewtwo deck. I absolutely love Empoleon decks. I don't even know if I have enough Empoleon to run it, but I just think that Empoleon decks require a lot of skill. The big thing about this Empoleon deck was that it also ran Dusknoir, and Dusknoir is another Stage 2 Pokemon, meaning that it's going to be very difficult to get 2 Stage 2 Pokemon up and running at the same time, but Dusknoir moves around your damage on your field. So he can be spreading damage with Landorus, Empoleon, and then just moving that damage around any way he wants. In fact, I watched this guy's his 5th round Swiss game, and he took 4 prizes in his last turn on time. It's just amazing what you can do with Dusknoir. But unfortunately, in our matchup, we both got really, really, really slow starts. Both of us were just dead drawing for a long time. I ended up just taking a risk, and I captured up his Mewtwo, and knocked it out with my Mewtwo, hoping that he didn't have a retaliation in hand. And honestly, that's really what I think what really won it for me, because that got a few more cards in my hand, that got my deck moving a little more. I think he topped a Juniper on the next turn to get him, or maybe it was the turn after that. He couldn't get the retaliation Mewtwo, I believe, but he did get a Juniper shortly after, and it ended up bringing the game really, really close. So I won that one. I really don't remember any particulars, but I pretty much kept I sniped some Duskulls, and I think captured up a Dusknoir and knocked it out with Darkrai. Great that it's weak against Dark, and that was really a crucial play. My second match was, I was dreading this one, up against Zach Bivens, who is one of the best players in our area. He got a Worlds invite last year, and he's just a big threat, and I always dread coming up against him, because I tend to, our matches are always, we've had very few good games. We had, I think, a couple of good games in the days of Durant and Chandelure, but most of our other games when we face each other are, one of us is just always dead drawing. And in fact, I have to give him credit for the Cresselia tech. I know a lot of other people are running it too, but he's the one that I saw it running, and just, he showed me what it could really do, so, yeah, gotta give him credit for that. But he was playing Blastoise Keldeo, and he just dead drew. I think I got the turn 2 Hydreigon, and there, I don't even remember if he got a Blastoise up. I feel like he did. I feel like some late game ends took it in pretty close, but I was able to get out of it, and I just had so much energy on the field that I had a lot of options, and I just felt really bad when a game like that, against such a good player, and it's just a dead draw. My third game was up against another really good guy running a Kling deck, and Kling, who knew? Who knew that it would do so well on Nationals, and who knew that it would actually make somewhat of a comeback at Cities? I knew a guy that the previous weekend made top 8 with it, ran really well with it, and I think he lost on Sudden Death, and Kling doesn't do well in Sudden Death. It's meant to take prizes later on. So I was really dreading coming up against this Kling deck, but I wouldn't say he dead drew, but I got really lucky in that he actually had a double Kling with a Registeel up, but he was having a hard time getting into his energy. So he actually was forced to gear grind twice. Kling's attack, it's like you flip 2 coins and it's 80 times the number of heads, and on all 4 flips for both attacks, he flipped tails. Not having that damage on me early in the game really gave me a chance to get set up. I was able to take the Kling's out. He had to Juniper, because he had a double Kling up earlier, he had Junipered away a Super Rod and the rest of his Kling line. So I really didn't need to. After I took out those double Klings, I was pretty much set. So it took a while to get I think the Registeel is really the big tech that he put up against me, but I feel that there's the good thing about Kling is it runs so many different techs, and I feel like there would have been many more techs out on the field had he had the Kling to be able to move things around and really focus on them. So unfortunately that match again just didn't really go well in his favor, but I was really thankful that I really hadn't played against Kling, so I wasn't quite sure what to do. My fourth match was against a player that I've actually I played in a Cities tournament last weekend, and we tend to always be sitting around each other. Thomas, really awesome guy. I think there was Ho-Oh in it. I remember Ho-Oh was in the first time, but what I really remember was a really heavy Retaliate Terrakion line, and I dread that Retaliation Terrakion, because if you notice, I don't run Eviolite in my deck, so it one-shots my Darkrai on a Retaliate or on a Land Crush. So he starts off with 2 of them, he's slowly attaching. I managed to work my catchers around to get the double knockout, so I don't have to use a Retaliate. However, he pops down a 3rd, and I think it's a retaliation off of that to knock out a Darkrai. I think he might have had the game if he didn't make a crucial misplay at one point. He had a Terrakion active. If he had another energy, a fighting energy in hand, he could have attached it to the active Terrakion, and I think he had already captured up a Darkrai, so he could have one-shot it. It wouldn't have been enough to win him the game, but it would have put him in a definite prize lead and really put, taking 3 of my energy off the field, put a lot of pressure on me. Unfortunately, he misplays and attaches a DCE to the Bouffalant as his attachment for the turn before he ends, and that means that he can't get that extra energy onto the Terrakion for the land, whatever the second attack is, to knock me out. So, unfortunately, that, again, who knows how the game might have turned out had he not made that mistake, but it was still a really close game regardless. And my fifth matchup was against a guy that actually took cities in the tournament today. I judged the tournament today instead of playing. And he took first, so that kind of tells you how good of a player he is. Playing Blastoise Keldeo. And honestly, he just dead drew. I think I captured up Squirtles, but I just don't remember him really being able to hit crucial cards, and it was a pretty fast game. But it really didn't matter because we were both undefeated at that point. So since I was his only loss, he was guaranteed pretty much a top 4 spot anyways. So it really didn't matter. It was a good time for him to dead draw. So now I'm on to top 4, and I'm facing the same Empoleon, Landorus, Dusknoir, Mewtwo deck that I faced in turn 1, or not turn 1, game 1. I was his only loss of the day. We start off the game, he wins the coin flip. I have a lone Dart Deino, he has a Mewtwo, and yeah, I got donked. I didn't even get to draw a card. He plops down. I think he did have to search it out. He searched out for the Landorus, attached a blend energy, the one with fighting, to the Landorus, and Skyled for the switch to donk me. So first game, I'm feeling, I now have to win the next 2 to make it to top 2. And honestly, he should have won the second one. I get a fairly slow start. He runs at least 2, maybe 3 Landorus, and Landorus is just it's a hard matchup for me. Putting that pressure, that damage pressure on early with the Dusknoirs, to be able to move them around later on as he sees fit. He was able to manipulate that energy. He got a Dusknoir and a Landorus up pretty fast, and he was able to move that energy around, or sorry, that damage around, to get double knockouts, couple turns in a row. What got me back in the game, and I still can't believe I did this, and I will probably never do it again, I run 4 Dart Patch. I end, so he goes down to 2, I think, or something, 2 or 3, and I get 6. 3 of them were Dart Patch, and he had just knocked out, and there were 3 Dark in the discard pile. So I triple Dart Patch onto a Darkrai. I don't even remember what I knocked out, but I'm pretty sure I knocked out something. But that triple Dart Patch, getting those 3 energy back on the field, is what kept me in the game. Later on, he went to knock out a Darkrai with Land Judgment. Land Judgment does 80, so times 2 would be 160. Not quite enough to one-shot a Darkrai. However, if you discard all your fighting energy attached to Landorus, it does 150 times 2 for the weakness, which is more than enough to knock out my Darkrai. Problem is that he actually didn't have to do the secondary effect where you discard the energy. He didn't notice that there were, I think, 20 or 30 damage counters on my Mewtwo, and he had a Dusknoir. What he should have done was move the damage up to the Darkrai to be able to use Land Judgment for the knockout, but still keep his energy on the field. Instead, he misses it, he Land Judgments, discarding the energy, and it's not until I already draw for my turn, and we're well into my turn, that he kind of realizes his mistake. That took all of his energy off the field except for a DCE, which was attached to Landorus, which was not much help at that point. And I was able just to squeak back in and take the win from there. I honestly don't remember too much of our third game. I know it went to time, it was really intense, and basically what it came down to is I had 2 prizes left to win it. I plopped down a Mewtwo, trans all the energy on it, and catcher up his Mewtwo for the game. Gotta love the Mewtwo Wars. Or maybe it was a Cresselia. No, I'm pretty sure it wasn't a Cresselia. I'm pretty sure it was a Mewtwo. But yeah, such a good game, and yeah, if it wasn't for that misplay that he did in the second game, he probably, with those energy on the field, he probably would have had it, and I would never have had a shot at that third game. So then I go on to top 2 against a Blastoise Keldeo deck. The Blastoise Keldeo that I played earlier had gotten knocked out in the Blastoise mirror match. This Blastoise Keldeo deck was the same deck that, it may have been tweaked, but the same player that I had beaten in Top Cut the previous week. So, you know, I always feel like when I'm going up against a player that I had just beaten at another tournament, I always feel like when I face him in the next tournament, it's going to be some revenge time. And sure enough, it was his revenge time. So, He gets an amazing setup the first game. I don't know if I even drew a prize, and just pretty much wipes through me. I lose the first game. I win the second game. He gets a much slower start, and he's not able to bench a double Squirtle. And I just hit those catchers, and I'm at the right times, and I'm able to catch up those Squirtles before they become Blastoise. And so he ends up scooping to make sure that we have enough time for game 3. Which was definitely a smart play. I mean, once I take out the Blastoise, I even had another catcher in hand if he had wanted to plop down another Squirtle. So, 3 prizes off of Squirtles, with a potential for a 4th, it just wasn't looking good for him. So, basically, he takes a huge lead. I think it was 6 prizes to 1. I managed to come back. I think I slowly had Darkrai use Night Spear to knock out a Keldeo. So I took 2 prizes there. I remember using Cresselia I loaded up a Cresselia. The one time I got to use Cresselia all game, actually all tournament, was in that match. I plopped down Cresselia, put 4 energy on it, captured up his Mewtwo for the knockout to bring it 2 prizes to 1. I had ended him the previous turn, but he had ended his turn by beaching, and I was pretty sure he was going to get the catcher off that beach, which is the only thing he needed. I had a Sableye on the bench. Sure enough, he rushes in, catchers up the Sableye for a game. But it was still an amazing game. It came down, I was still pretty stoked that I was able to come back from 6 prizes to 1 to bring it a 2-to-1 prize. I actually would have had the game on the next turn had he not had the catcher, so getting it that close was just really awesome. He's a really awesome, really great guy too. So I was glad to see him win. And overall, it was just a great tournament. So, like I said, that's actually probably my my last cities. There's another one this weekend, but it's like a 5-hour round trip drive, and I really don't know if I want to spend 5 hours in a car for a cities. You know, for states or regionals, it makes it a little more worthwhile. But for cities, I've had a really good run with just the 3 cities I've gone to. I had a great time at all of them, and so I judged today in Burlington. Had a great time judging. I'm a new judge, so you know I struggled a little bit, had to ask for some ruling questions. We had some issues, but overall I'm really enjoying it, and I know it cuts down on a few tournaments that I'll be able to participate in, but for those of you that are 18 and over, if you know, you're not up for like Worlds invites or anything like that, I really would look into judging. It's just a great way to know more players and just have a good time without getting your butt beat or having to worry about getting your butt beat. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed my tournament report. I'll have some more battle videos up this week, and of course then we'll have another Feature Friday. Thanks for watching!